the full solstice. We've done this mantra meditation challenge and done so many other sessions, but we've never really gone through the entire eight verses.
Because you guys are already so advanced.
Yeah. So there is, I mean, there is a quality of some like deep end stuff, some esoteric stuff, but just sort of framing it in that this is kind of taking us to the sort of the highest pinnacles of bhakti. And for us, the first two, three verses are sort of where we tend to hover for some time, at least, in our Krishna consciousness. And the higher ones are simply there to give us a perspective of where this is all headed. So let's start. We'll mute everyone. Shri Bhakti, Amritvani, if you can mute.
Cheto dharmana Janam Bhavamahadavagni Nirvapanam Shriyakeravachandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamritaswadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Namkari Bahudani Ja Sarva Shakti Tatrapidani Amita Smaranena Kala Ekadrishi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Namapi Durdaiva Mitrishanihan Ninanurada Trinadapi Sunichena Karoriva Sarishnuna Amanina Manadena Tirtaniya Sada Hari Nanam Najan Kavitamba Jagadish Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmanishware Avatar Bhakti Hare Tuti Tvai Nanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishme Bhavam Budho Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Sitadhuli Sadrisham Vichintaya Nayanam Galadashruharaya Vadanam Gadagadaudhaya Gira Pulake Nichitam Vapukada Tavanam Grahane Bhavishyati Yugayitam Nimeshena Chakshusha Pravirshayitam Sunyayitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Virare Nami
Aslisya va padaratam vinashtuma Adarshanam marmahatam karotu va Yatha tatha va vidhatulam pato Mat prananatastu saivana para
Asleshva Padratam Dinastumam Adarshanan Marmahatam Karotu Va Yatha Tatha Va Vidhatulam Pato Mat Prananathastu Saevana Para.
I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he shall remain so, even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He's completely free to do anything and everything, for he's always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. So this whole process of bhakti, it takes us from a place of alloy. Like our bhakti right now is a mixture. We talked about this, I think, yesterday and day before. Our bhakti is mixed, and there are other desires and other motivations, and that's all right. But as we go along, then just like when gold is put in fire, then gold gradually loses all its impurities and becomes completely pure. So same way when bhakti becomes completely purified, then at that stage there is no other desire for any other gratification, including liberation, but rather just this complete mood of surrender, this complete mood of aligning oneself with the desires of the beloved, and where the happiness of the beloved becomes the source of one's greatest happiness and joy. And any obstacle that we encounter in the process of bringing pleasure or joy to one's beloved becomes a source of one's.
Yeah, it is. So this verse is completely, this verse is the pinnacle of this chanting process where we become so attracted to Krishna that his desires and his happiness becomes the foremost in our heart. And just like an iron filing is helplessly attracted towards a big magnet, a living entity finds it uh, perfect shelter under Krishna, and is not all the distractions are gone, and we are not attracted by anything else in this world.
It's a state of perfect samadhi.
Yeah.
Perfect. Meditation has its perfection in samadhi, and so this is actually that perfect state. Um,
the other thing this talks about is whether he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. So I guess this is when we are chanting many times we will experience that maybe our chanting is kind of
dry.
dry and we're not feeling that connection. So what this means is that regardless of how we feel, we still chant for Krishna's pleasure. And even though whatever we may feel, but Krishna is still listening to our chanting, and that brings him pleasure.
Also, it also allows for us to enter into a very sort of practical thing that we deal with in our day-to-day life, which is that even though we are practicing bhakti or any spiritual path, there'll be difficulties that can come in our life. How do we respond to those difficulties in a mode of gratitude? Form sort of the at our level, this is how we can respond to it. That whether he responds by fulfilling our desire, or whether he responds by withholding or holding back those desires that we may have, I still continue to offer my gratitude. I still continue. And in fact, there's a beautiful verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam that says that for a person who can do that, for that person, the doors of liberation are wide open because it has become his birthright. So just by this one act of experiencing radical gratitude, radical acceptance and radical gratitude, which means that no matter what happens, I am, my heart is open and able to receive it in this deepest mood of love and gratitude and acceptance. And such a heart actually becomes the repository of great wisdom, great depth. Yeah, to gracefully receive every situation and thank Krishna for it. It's not easy, but when Krishna, because he's sitting in our heart as a super soul, when he sees that kind of attitude in the heart of a practitioner, that really pleases him. And he surrenders. There's a very interesting pastime with Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya used to dance with his chant Krishna's names throughout the night in a select group of people because not everybody would understand that mode. So one day there was this bachelor brahmachari who really wanted to see Lord Chaitanya's kirtan, and he convinced other devotees to let him in, and then he was very pure, but so they let him in. And Lord Chaitanya suddenly, when he was doing his kirtan, he felt that there was something was wrong, and then he said, "Who else is there?" And then he found out that this brahmachari was there, and he asked other devotees, "Why is he here?" And they said, "Well, he really wanted to see you, and he's very pure. He only drinks milk." And so Lord Chaitanya said, "Well, that's very well and good, but this is nobody can see me just by drinking milk. So he should leave." So they asked that brahmachari to leave, but that brahmachari was feeling such gratitude in his heart that yeah, this is the right treatment for me, because how can I see? Because he was feeling like I got a chance to actually see it for a moment. Yeah, I got a chance to see for a moment. Then he's also feeling this is the right treatment for me. Now, how can I see the Lord just by drinking milk?
And because Krishna and Lord Chaitanya, they're sitting in the heart of the super soul, when they saw that attitude in the heart of the brahmachari, Lord Chaitanya immediately changed his decision. He said, no, okay, he can come in. And he allowed him to participate. So but the point is that how we feel about difficult situations in our life, and I'm very grateful to Krishna that it really turned things around very quickly.
Also, the word surrender sometimes can be a little, intimidating. Actually, the Sanskrit word for surrender is Sharanagati, which means receiving shelter. So, the whole process of bhakti culminates in this act of Sharanagati, which means that I allow myself to receive the shelter and experience the shelter, because in this world, we are not able to find that shelter no matter what we try, who we try to receive the shelter from. It's very temporary. And so that generates a lot of anxiety, generates a lot of fear and stress within us. Ashanagati means that I'm completely, completely within the embrace. And actually, there is no question of breaking one's heart. Even when Krishna chooses to maybe withhold something from us, that is still his embrace. And that's what a devotee experiences. Devotee experiences his embrace at all moments. So, anyways, we're sort of rambling on. Sorry about that. So, we'll now jump into the chanting. So, this is the pinnacle of this mood of bhakti where we enter into this place where we say, I accept. I accept my past, I accept my present. Whatever is happening in my life is actually a gift. It's actually a place for me to experience the deepest kind of gratitude. And in this mode, we can try and chant today.
Jai
Shri
Shri
Krishna
Krishna
Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Prabhu
Prabhu
Nityananda
Nityananda
Shri Advaita Gadadhar
Shri
Shri Vasadi
Vasadi
Gaur
Gaur
Bhaktavinda
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
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 Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama
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 Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
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 Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama
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 Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
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 Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama
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 Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
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 Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama
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 Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
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 Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama
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 Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
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 Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama
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 Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
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 Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama
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 Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
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 Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama
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 Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
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 Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama
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 Hare
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 Hare Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
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 Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama
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 Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
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 Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama
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 Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
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 Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama
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 Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
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 Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama
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 Hare
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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
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 Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama
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 Hare
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 Hare Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
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 Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama
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 Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
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 Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama
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 Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
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 Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama
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 Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
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 Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama
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 Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
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 Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama
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 Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
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 Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama
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 Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
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 Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama
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 Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
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 Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama
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 Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
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 Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama
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 Hare
Hare Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
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 Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
All right, so we can maybe take reflections, comments, anything you want to share or talk about.
I'm seeing wonderful pictures. And
Yeah.
you both have a lovely glow today. You all are
Oh,
looking extremely happy and now lovely to see you go. In those
thank
pictures,
you.
really
Yes.
nice.
Waiting for you and for actually for you to whenever possible to, try and visit this place. It is very, very,
Yeah,
yeah. And yeah.
you all are looking exceptionally happy today, fulfilled.
Yeah, we feel that way. Mhm. Nice. Any thoughts, Aditi? We haven't heard from you in a while. Anyone else? Let's see. Eunice. Yes, Bhuvaneshwari, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Mataji Prabhuji. Uh,
Hare Krishna.
Today's chatting was wonderful, and I have a particular thought or a question on the last verse of Sikshashtakam, um, where it talks about unconditional bhakti, right? Even if you handle me roughly, I still I'm with you, or things like that. So I'm wondering, do people have a choice? Uh, do even have we have to be explicit about it? Because I'm thinking, if my mom is very rough with me, I can go and talk to my dad. But in this case, do I have a choice?
Well, well, people can whine, right? People can be angry or bitter about it, or people might, try to find shelter in so many places. Sometimes people even start engaging in destructive things. So yes, we don't have a choice, but still, the act of saying yes and seeing the beauty in it. There's great wisdom in trauma, and there is great. Um, there is it opens up a portal of joy and happiness. As these layers get peeled off of us, in the beginning we are horrified, but as we go through the process in bhakti, in loving, in trying to love and serve Krishna through it all, and it continues to open us to, deeper realities where we realize that actually happiness is innate to us. Love is innate to us. All of these conditions that we attach to happiness is actually not happiness. That is simply conditioned happiness. You remove those conditions and we are again unhappy. So, so yeah, we want to go, to a place where there are no conditions.
Sure,
Anyways, we
thank
don't have
you.
a choice. Anyways, we don't have a choice in this material world, right? What choice do we have?
Yeah.
I mean, we get our quota of happiness and suffering. How much choice do we have? Our choice is very limited actually in this material world. We think that we have a big choice. The whole world choice is overrated in this material world.
Yeah.
Especially in some parts of the world where it's all about my choice. And where is the choice? The modes of nature are making the choice for us most of the time, and we think that it is my choice. So I guess this verse is kind of encouraging us to willingly offer our choice to Krishna. And when we do that, even when our heart and mind doesn't want to do that, anything offered to Krishna, Krishna will accept it and purify it and embrace us. So Krishna is waiting for that embrace. Are we ready to put ourselves in his hands?
Actually, one of our teachers, he always says that anyways things are going to be taken away from us. Why not just give it away to Krishna preemptively?
Yeah.
So,
And how much choice do we have? And when somebody has to die, what is the choice there? Nobody wants to die, but the choice is not there at that point, right? So
nice. Anybody else? We miss hearing all of you. So go ahead. Yes, Aditi.
Hare Krishna. I
Hare
haven't
Krishna.
I haven't spoken up in the last few days because I've just been enjoying. I haven't had too many insights, and it's just been wonderful to join with you both and
You guys
everyone
don't
here. It's so
realize how
wonderful.
much we miss when you don't hear you
and
guys.
see you guys.
See
It's
you
like
guys, and our days be like, oh.
And I think especially from yesterday's verse and today's verse, I'm thinking about how when I feel upset or when I feel like I'm in this bad mood. I mean, honestly, like it's early for me when we start, and often when I start, I'm like a little grumpy. And then as we do the chanting, I'm like, oh, I'm quite happy now. And then I realized like the part of me that is grumpy is feeling separation, and Krishna is never feeling separation, because Krishna is this like, you know, innately connected part of me. And it's just amazing to think that, you know, so much of my life when I'm feeling upset, it's just the solution is very simple, to find that connection within me.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is indeed true. So beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Aditi. Yeah, the solution is so simple. I love that. Yeah. Anybody else? Komal, any thoughts from you?
I've just been enjoying Hare Krishna. I've just been enjoying the ride, and um, I I had actually spoken to Amrita offline, and you know, I feel very like a novice listening to everyone. So, but I'm enjoying. The shlokas are a little hard for me to understand, and you know, I really feel like I have so much to learn
Yeah.
from you all. So, thank you for the opportunity.
No,
But like I mean, I'm loving the meditation, and I hope I can continue beyond the 21 days of the discipline and so on. So, thank you so much for this
wonderful.
opportunity.
What we would recommend is, in order to continue, I think one suggestion might help is to do it at the same time as we're doing this class right now. So that way, like for you, it's the same time.
Yeah.
And then nothing has changed for you.
It's changed, yeah. Yeah, I was also thinking that this idea of being a novice is something that we all actually, I want to always stay in that mindset of being a novice, because that's where we can approach Krishna with the greatest feeling, you know. So I still remember the first 6 months and the first year of our, you know, coming in contact with Bhakti, and the feeling of, you know, just everything being so new, you know. And so that's a feeling we want to cultivate more and more, so that even 25 years later, 30 years later, we can still see it. We don't want to get jaded. And if we practice bhakti in this state, then we'll never get jaded, actually.
Because spiritual life is new at every moment. Krishna is new at every moment. When we start finding it boring or the same old, that means, yeah, we just want to go deeper at that point.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Anybody else? Renu, any thoughts from you? You always. Yes, Amrita, go ahead.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. So I was just thinking about, we talked about how we can add value. Like I think yesterday we were talking about, how we're in the material world, we're always looking for a value in things without, seeing any kind of value. We don't really, go ahead and commit ourselves. So, just that, we can add like spiritual value by chanting. But at the same time, I was thinking, how can we increase that value? Because the byproduct of that value is the love. But if you're not feeling the love, we can just do it by setting the right intention, and that intention itself could be the value add.
Very nice.
Wow.
So beautiful, yeah. Value added could be the intention. Thank you. We also have Radhika here with us. Radhika, would you like to share something?
I'm sorry, I'm not in a very good, I'm just listening.
You look nice. Go ahead.
I think everything, suffering, right? Like how suffering can bring us closer to Krishna. I think suffering is always there, right? You see it or you don't see it. But it's a very, very important tool given by Krishna, so that and eventually this is what it will happen. But if we take it as a tool to come closer to Krishna, then that suffering can become beautiful. So just theory, Didi, I don't know, like application, but that is one thing. And being in a beginner's mind is another thing. That I think the sense of entitlement is the problem to all everything. And I tell that I was reading that there are 3 stages, right? Like how you can feel envy towards your seniors, and you can have rivalry with your peers, and you can feel dominate, like your sense of control over your juniors. So there's so much at every, and all of this 3 feeling is coming from a sense of entitlement that this is due to. So I think a beginner's mind where I don't know anything is what we have to cultivate. But I think sometimes everything seems it's very helpful, but many times it's very theoretical also. I feel, am I really understanding it, or I'm just using the words behind it? So I don't know.
Yeah, and it's true. We may, right now, a lot of these things that we talk about, maybe like a 6 or a 7 or an 8-year-old talking about, conjugal or intimate relationships. And it may be all theoretical, but as we keep talking, as we keep getting more and more mature, then these things will become more and more real to us. So it's just a matter of time, and we have so much to look forward to, so much to be happy. Thank you, Mamta. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Uh, Anyways, I guess if there's no other comment, Kakali, it's so good to have you. Guru Shankar, Renu, Nina, Eunice, Tina, Raj, of course, Ridhima, Neela, Vinati, Purna. So nice. We'll miss all of you when it's all over. We'll make more plans. All right, so
See you tomorrow.
we'll see you tomorrow.